Africa and around the world. This is Smart Madu Ajaja, the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite, and the anchor of Nigeria Now, Global Matters Arising. Good morning, Africa, and reggae at its best on ONN. It is 2:11 a.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas. I am bringing you updates on the war in Iran and also the Iranian offer to Nigeria to help Nigeria fight terrorism. All right, I'm going to be, talking about that right after I bring you President Donald Trump's briefing uh, yesterday, day 9 on this war. And if you're joining us from around the world, would love to know where you're joining from. And please, if this is your first time, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so that when we come with the next amazing news, you'll be one of the very, very first persons to be contacted. And if you are listening from Nigeria, now you got to listen attentively because I'm going to make some very strong statements about Nigeria and the state of that country and the foolishness of some of its citizens who are doing some crazy things in Nigeria for something that they absolutely know nothing about. But because their mindset is being messed up by those criminals, hypocrites that they look up to for leadership, especially in the religious circle. So, join us as we uh, go into this, starting with the update from President Donald Trump. Let's go on it. All right. We're waiting for that to come a moment.
Hello, everyone. Big 2 days, I have to say. And we'll be heading back to Washington, D.C. right after this. And I'd like to wish everyone a very good evening. And over the weekend, the United States military and the Israeli Defense Forces continued Operation Epic Fury very successfully. Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. Now, you add that up to all of the other things, Midnight Hammer, getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to.
Hey,
But they're the
Chisuka,
kind
how
of
are
things that
you?
are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which within up to 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones. And our B 2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership uh, twice and maybe three times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with the situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in or the head of the country in that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole, where they were involved very strongly. They always denied it, but where they were very strongly involved, and all of the people that died through the roadside bombs died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building, essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented pilots and the great equipment. The B-2 bombers are unbelievable. We ordered 25 more, by the way, the newer, better version. It's we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. You see that no matter where we go. You still need the people, though, to operate it and to use it. And those are the people that we cherish. Even after we obliterated their key nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer, they never negotiated in good faith. They still continued to say, we want to build nuclear. We want enrichment at levels that were unacceptable. And they even turned down an offer for unlimited free nuclear fuel forever for civilian purposes. We had people offering them free nuclear fuel. They weren't interested in that because they wanted to build a nuclear weapon. So instead, the regime was trying to reconstitute its weapons program at a different site. They couldn't go back to where they were, the 3 sites that we obliterated, but they were starting work at another site, a different site, different kind of a site. And that was protected by granite. They wanted it protected. Granite's pretty good, but they wanted it protected by a lot deeper. They wanted to go a lot deeper, and they started the process while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time. It threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So, as you probably saw, they had a tremendous number of missiles, most of which are now being used or destroyed, and very unsuccessfully used because we have been able, for the most part, to shoot them all down. What incredible technology. The Patriots have been unbelievable, and other things. And the laser technology that we have now is incredible. It's coming out pretty soon. Where literally lasers will do the work of, at a lot less cost, do the work of what the Patriots are doing or what other things are doing. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And if you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors, and their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved, and they got attacked. And it had the reverse effect. The neighbors came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite successfully. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others, but they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it. It was a threat then and a much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that too. In the meantime, during this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfin.
Tax Act is designed to help you get your taxes done. Let's get them over with.
With all of that, it affects other countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position, but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time, and we're protecting the world from what these lunatics are trying to do, and very successfully, I might add. We're also waiving certain. We won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed. I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through. And we have the greatest mine-sweeping ability. We have the greatest ships, and all of them. We know exactly where they're placed. We'll get them out of there very fast, but we hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit. They had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed, but they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East, and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder. Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
That was
Do
President
you
Donald
approve
Trump
of
giving his
Iran's new
briefing
supreme
yesterday,
leader? And secondly, can you tell
9 day 9,
us more about your
and
call
today
with
we're going to
Russian
be bringing
President
you the
Vladimir
day
Putin
10
today?
Yes.
What did you
updates.
discuss?
Yes,
And he's
I had
taking
a very
questions now.
good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. but I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East, and he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking about days?
I think so.
Okay, and with respect
very
to
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
to Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that? And why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. It sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela, they couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah. Please, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of 1-800-GOT-JUNK?
Oh, yeah, the junk removal company.
All you have to do is point.
Missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, they wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think
for
you could
this
say
war
it
to last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big Navy, very powerful. These were ships. These were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off the ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufacture the drones are under fire as we speak. They're being hit. So the rest is going to be a determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you, you mentioned you were going to waive certain additional oil waivers or sanctions. Can you talk a little bit more about that and address in particular?
Well, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. We went artificially up because of this excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen. We have the best military. We have the best equipment. We have, I believe, the best generals. We have the best. And this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. You know, Iran was a very powerful military country with all of the missiles. Now, you had the double attack. You had the original attack with us in Israel, and that knocked them for a loop. Then you had the B-2 bombers, which took out their nuclear capability, and they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And they would have used it long before this press conference. And we might have had a much different press conference if we had a press conference at all. But it's been amazing. The military success that we've had is truly unprecedented.
You've told your congressional colleagues that you will not sign any piece of legislation until the Save America Act is passed. Does that include the confirmation of Senator Mullen as your next DHS secretary? Does that mean a DHS funding bill? And Senator Thune said today, it's not a matter of whether or not your Republican colleagues agree with the policy. It's about changing the process. In other words, getting rid of the filibuster to get there.
So in order to get it, you're going to need Democrat votes. And what we're saying is the Save America, not the Save Act, which nobody knew what it was, the Save America Act, the Save America Act. And that's voter ID. We want voter ID. When a voter, we want to be able to see a picture of the voter. We want to be able to see that the voter is legitimate. We want, very importantly, confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States of America. And we want no mail-in ballot scams. So we have exceptions for the military, for sick, for disabled, and for people that are away, business trips or whatever. Even vacations will be very liberal in that. We've added two things to it: no men in women's sports and no transgender mutilization of our children. We don't want it's mutilization of our children, and we don't want that. So we added those two things. That's the 5 points. We have 5 very good points. It polls at 86% with Democrats. Think of that. The overall vote is 86%. With Republicans, it's 98%. And the only one opposed to it is a Democrat leadership because they cheat. They want to cheat. So we added those 2 points. We're going for the gold, and we're going to have to fight like hell. Now, certain things will happen. Certain things will take place. I'm here to do a great job for the country. But we don't have a country if we're going to have elections that are so corrupt and so dishonest like we've witnessed over the last period of time. You know, as an example, virtually nobody has nobody has a system of mail-in ballots like we have. No other country in the world. France went away from it. They all went, you know why? Because it's corrupt. And Jimmy Carter, when he had a commission, frankly, I think it's probably the best thing Jimmy Carter did. He said, you can't have mail-in voting because it's inherently dishonest. And it's turned out to be totally dishonest. So we're going to fight for it. Yeah.
Has Iran activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S.? There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under. We've got them. We're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Thank you, sir. You've said you have someone in mind to be the new Iranian leadership, if not the Ayatollah's son. What are you looking for in that person? Are you looking at someone internal, given that you just said that their leadership has been?
I like the idea of internal and eternal. Come to think of it, but I like the idea of internal because it works well. I mean, I think we've proven that so far in Venezuela. We have a woman, Delcy, who has been, president of the country, very respected, she's doing a great job. And it's, no disruption. We had, as you remember, Iraq, where everybody got fired. The military got fired, the police got fired, the politicians got fired. There was nobody. And you know what they turned into? ISIS. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So I would like to see people that are inside go. Now they talk about the son of the Shah. They talk about other people, but, hasn't been there in many, many years. We have a formula that's been very good so far, and I think it'll continue to be good. The relationship is extraordinary with Venezuela, smart country. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil. It's right now in Houston being taken care of and made so beautiful. And you have to see this at work. They have it's brought to the refineries. It's being refined in Houston, which is made exactly for that product. And so far, but it's 100 million barrels of oil, and now they have another 100 million barrels coming. And it's like a partnership. We're getting along so well with them. It's great for Venezuela, and it's great for the United States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
You said earlier that we've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. What do you consider enough? What's your baseline?
Where they're not going to be starting the following day to develop a nuclear weapon. Where they'll look at that man and some other people from the administration and say, all right, we're not going to do it. They were not willing to say that. And when Steve called up and he said that to me, I said, well, here we go. Let's do it the hard way. But the hard way, I think, is probably the easy way. When basically I can see that they will no longer have any capacity whatsoever for a very long period of time of developing weaponry that could be used against the United States, Israel, or any of our allies. We have great allies in the Middle East, great countries that are allies. And they were staying out of it until they got hit. Someday they'll have to do a story. Why did he do that? Why did they do that? But they were going to hit them. If I didn't hit them first, they were going to hit our allies first. I believe, upon information and belief, but I believe that he was going to, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were looking to take over the Middle East. Now, had Operation Midnight Hammer not taken place, that was definite. because they would have had a nuclear weapon within a matter of weeks. But that took place. That was a setback. But look at the number of missiles they were able to buy and make over the last 6 months. And those missiles were aimed at various countries. And when you look at over 1,000 missiles shot at like UAE, they were looking to take over the Middle East. We got there first. We're lucky. I'll tell you what, the Middle East and those countries, very rich countries, are very lucky that I was president instead of somebody else.
Points of disagreement between yourself and your vice president when it comes to U.S. action in Iran?
I don't think so. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing. In the back, please, in the back.
Accidents happen, so do repairs. We restore it all at Jewelry Repair.
About the straight, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the Straits. But hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it. Yeah.
Leader, you have called him an unacceptable choice. So does he have a target on his back? And how can you say
I don't want to say whether or not he does because that would be inappropriate. But hey, look, I had a target on my back because, as you people wrote pretty well, they caught the assassin that was after me. So we just got them first, but they caught the assassin. They have him now in custody that was after me. So, but people don't like to mention that, but they did catch him. And I'd like to congratulate our military, Secret Service, FBI, all of the people that worked on that, but they did. Yeah, please. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You promised the Iranian people you would help them, but it sounds like you're willing to end this fight after your military objectives have wrapped up. Isn't that a betrayal of
Will
the
I
people?
help them? I'd like to, if they can behave. But they've been very menacing. They're great people. They have an amazing population. It's amazing, smart, brilliant, energetic. They have a great. I'd love to help them, but they have to be in a system that allows them to be helped. And right now, they're in a system that only allows failure. And I don't want that. And I want a system that's not going to be attacking us. We want a system that can lead to many years of peace. And if we can't have that, we might as well get it over with right now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, as of today, there have been 8 U.S. military fatalities associated with the war in Iran. How many American deaths are you willing to have in this war?
Well, as I said before, when you have conflicts like this, you always have death. And I was at Dover yesterday. I met the parents, and they were unbelievable people. They were unbelievable people, but they all had one thing in common. They said to me, one thing, every single one, finish the job, sir. Please finish the job. And I'll leave you at that. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
President Donald Trump of the United States, and that briefing that took place yesterday, day 9. And as it stands today, the Iranian have appointed their new supreme leader. Yes, the son of the former one. Let us see how it
So
goes.
teaching these kinds of children.
All right. So the next thing we're going to be considering here, you heard everything he said, his preparedness, his meeting with the families of those fallen American heroes. When this country is one country that goes out there. I don't care how much. I do have problem with some of U.S. foreign policy. Even I live here. I'm a Nigerian. I'm also an American. I've lived here for 30 years of my life. But this is one country that is so welcoming to everybody. And sometimes it looks like some people take undue advantage of the openness of this country to create some kind of confusion. This is one country that has every country on earth represented. Yes, one place. And that is why America is a global conglomerate. The things this country does, I don't see any other country that will do it. China cannot do it. Russia cannot do it. They can't go to a country, fight a war, come back and help rebuild the country. Yes, countries collaborate for progress. They collaborate for benefits. Yes. So I'm going to be talking about Nigeria and some Nigerians. I spent half of my life in Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, raised for up to the 30th year of my life. I left here 30, maybe 33. Yeah, I'm 63 now, going to 64 in June. So for that period, I've been away. I left Nigeria in 1994. First to South Africa, where I spent 2 years. And then in 1996, I moved here. So exactly in September of this year, I'll be 30 years here in the United States. And most of the things that I have experienced in Nigeria in terms of discrimination against me in my own country, I've never seen an inch of that here. This country is a country where if you have the ability, this is a country where you can go to sleep with a dream. You wake up, the dream can come true if you can walk. There's an open playing field for everybody. I always say how I was hired at the MD Anderson Cancer Hospital, one of the best hospitals, if not actually the best hospital on earth. Yes. When I applied for that job, a friend of mine who is from Nigeria told me, no, you will not get that job because that's a white hospital. They will not hire you. But I didn't allow him to talk me out of it. I didn't allow him to infect me with that negative feeling. I went on ahead. I applied for the job. 2 days later, I was invited for an interview. And at the interview, I was told by one of the panel members that I exceeded their expectation. You know what that means? When somebody excitedly says that to you. And I was at that hospital for another couple of years before I founded my own business. And then I started doing business. My business took me around this country. Yes, 48 of America's 50 states I have been to. The only place I've not been, two places I've never been to is Hawaii and Alaska. And I have made myself a promise to complete that circle. So I would have been everywhere in this country. Yes, the diversity is great. The population is great. Are there problems? Yes. Are there racists? Absolutely. But good thing, when anybody performs any hateful act against you, the system has a way of addressing it. You will see the result. You will see it is addressed. All you can do is to fight. If you can fight, you get result of it. But I could not get that in Nigeria, where I was born. Discrimination. 1988, Hotoro Kano. I applied for a job at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Yes, as an industrial nurse. I was invited to the interview. I got to the interview. I was the best at that interview. I was the very best at the interview. Guess what? I was not given the job. Somebody called me aside to tell me, we are sorry we cannot give you this job because you are not from Kano State. Yes, you are not from Kano State. And moreover, your state quota has been filled. Quota system. The quota system has no meaning here. The best quota system is your brain, your ability, your competency, and your content of character. That's your quota system here. So this is a place where the son of a nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. I know it's a rhetoric that people use in Nigeria, but they don't mean it. Or every person who says it in Nigeria is a liar. But this is a place where the son of no American became something without knowing nobody in America. I was born in a remote village at Abavo in Delta State. Traveled to South Africa. From there, I moved here. I have worked in various places and had high profile positions. I wasn't born here. And they don't ask me, where is this your last funny last name, Ajaja, from? No, nobody asks me unless I volunteer. Because they know when they ask me some kind of way, I'm going to read some meaning into it. This is a great country. Yes. This is a country that will punish its companies that goes outside to do something wrong. If you're in Nigeria, I'm sure you know something about Halliburton. When they came to Nigeria to do some kind of shady thing with Atiku Abubakar, the one who wants to be your president, Syria contestants. Yes. They punished Halliburton here. They punished Halliburton. They gave Halliburton a corporate punishment. And their agent, a congressman, Jefferson, with whom Atiku dealt, he went to jail for 14 years. He was involved in a criminal fraud with Atiku. America punished him. 14 years jail term. But what did Nigeria do to Atiku? Nothing. Nigerians were given Atiku one presidential ticket after the other. And he still wants to run now, even nearly at 80. Nigerians, we are a very funny people. But I'm coming for you, in another thing. So in Hotoru, after they denied me the job, somebody called me. He said, your middle name is Madu, but you can put something and change it to Ahmadu. Put AH before the M, and then you become Ahmadu, and then you can convert to Islam. Yes, that's what somebody told me. Convert to Islam. I know a lot of people were doing it. I'm sure they are still doing it in order to get employment in the north of Nigeria. Become a Muslim. I will be a horrible Muslim. I will be even worse than a terrorist because I'm not going to be happy changing my name, changing my identity to get something in my country. Yes, that happened to me. Yes, I am saying it. It happened to me. 1988. Then in 1991, there was a deadly riot, religious related riot. And when you go to the north of Nigeria, no matter how much you speak the language, no matter how much you are, they are going to discriminate against you. That is a place where a Nigerian cannot get a job, like a normal job, work and get retire. No, they will never hire you as a Nigerian. Did you hear? I'm going to have to play something. So you hear Amado Bello, what he said at independence in Nigeria. You will cry about Nigeria. Are we talking about the way Nigeria is now? This thing did not start today. Yes, the elites, the Fulani elites, they are responsible for the death of Nigeria. And unless the people of Nigeria rise up against them to stop their madness, Nigeria will never move forward. Never. So they told me to become a Muslim. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be a Muslim because of a job. You can take the job. They took the job. I left. Then in 1991, because of Reinhard Bonnke came to preach, a German preacher came. I didn't go. I wasn't there. They dismantled everything, started killing innocent and defenseless fellow Nigerians. Yes, fellow Nigerians. They massacred thousands within 5 days of their mayhem. Yes, those are not Nigerians. They are Arabs. They have a very wicked mind, but they have a black skin like me. They are so intolerant, so savage, so hateful, and so arrogant, even in their ignorance. They are the ones holding Nigeria down. So, what am I trying to say here is that the type of freedom that I enjoy here, I've enjoyed it since I came here. I cannot enjoy it. I have not enjoyed it in Nigeria. Even in my own immediate environment, where I was born, Delta State, where I was born, you see the same kind of thing here and there, maybe on a lesser scale. You have to know someone in order to be someone. And that is why you have mediocre all over the place. And that's the reason they run down the country. Because the best are never put in positions in Nigeria. But here in the United States, a lot of Nigerians are holding high profile positions that the white man cannot even get to because maybe he's not qualified to do that job. A lot of Nigerians, some of the best doctors are here, some of the best nurses are here, some of the best lawyers are here, some of the best engineers are from Nigeria here. But when we flip it back home, we will become nothing. Yes, that is not a country. And you know what? Nigeria was positioned to be like the United States in Africa, with enormous amount of human, mineral, and natural resources. But sadly, that country has never had the opportunity of being led by any good person. Good people never lead Nigeria. Those who can transform Nigeria are never near the pathway of leading Nigeria. I went to run for Senate in 2019. I went with these lofty ideas about what I was going to do because I was inspired by an American senator, Senator John Cornyn. His, his humility, his service inspired me to want to do the same thing in Nigeria. But what did I meet? I met a roadblock. I met a serious roadblock. They were telling me, some were telling me, go back to your country, my America. Yeah, return to your country. What the message you are preaching here is not possible in Nigeria. This is Nigeria. This is not America. That's what they were telling me. Some were after my money. They want me to give them money. Yes. And the fraud in Nigeria, especially against good leadership, starts from the political parties, not even INEC. The political parties are where the problem starts for any good person who wants to aspire to be a leader in Nigeria. That's where they will ambush you and make it impossible. They are so jealous and so hateful. When you come from outside Nigeria to run, especially you come from the United States, they will tell you why you think you came from the United States. You want to jump in front. There have been people who have been on the line. Why do I have to be on the line to serve my country? They talk about democracy. They don't believe in democracy. Nigeria wasted so much money to bring Nigerians between 1978, 77, 78, and 79 to understudy Americans and the democratic practices here. Thousands of them were sent here. Or what did they do? They came here to shop. They did everything but learn anything about democracy. So when I hear them talk about Nigeria's democracy is a copy of the United States democracy, I would like, what I live through this every day. I don't see anything democratic about Nigeria. What you tell me about democracy? This what you are practicing in Nigeria is darkness. In fact, just if I had decided to be a politician here, it is easier for me to win an election in the United States than winning an election in Nigeria. Because the people here know what they are looking for. They are not looking for me to give them money. They are looking for my ability. They are looking for my competency. They are looking for my knowledge. They are looking for my courage to do right. They are looking for my content and strength of character to provide that leadership that will be tied to what they want in America, in education, in healthcare, in infrastructure, in electricity, the power distribution, power generation, cost, economy, and other. The politics here is issue driven. You don't have to have all the money. Otherwise, Obama would never have been president of Nigeria, the United States. Obama, the amount of money I had, Obama could not dream of it at the time he ran for presidency of the United States. He didn't have, I don't believe that he had that kind of the amount of money I had in my bank account at the time. The last, before the Democratic convention, before the one that produced him as a candidate for presidency, he watched it from the poorest hotel, Motel 6. When I was doing business, I wouldn't even stay in Motel 6. Motel 6. Yeah, that's the lowest. It's everywhere, the cheapest. And that's where you see bugs. But he watched, common man, ordinary man. That was where he watched on television the proceedings for the convention. The following term, he was there as a candidate. That is America, what America can do for you. Yes, you dream and you can work, your dream will come true. It's an amazing country. Yes, some of their policies are not good, depending on who is driving the presidency. We are lucky to have Donald Trump. I never liked him before now. I really did not. Yes, you need to see, if you go back to my videos, you see what I said about him in the previous election. Yeah, the one that he lost. Yes, very, very strong statements that I made about him. But what he is doing, he's the one that is truly, that has the first American president I have seen that is fighting terrorism from his heart, not purely from economics. Yeah, there are some economic things around it, but he's fighting this war against terrorism from his heart. And you cannot fight it. He's fighting it from his heart. The other ones, the Democrats, if it was a Democrat that was president, they're not going to fight terrorists. They will not do anything to Iran, to rein Iran in. They will be pardoning them for economic gains. But this guy came and did what was right. A right man. He was the one who understood what they were using U.S. aid to do. You see, he canceled it because some people were using it to fund terrorism. He stopped it. So the world is being reset. So when you blame him, oh yeah, he makes deals. He's a businessman. If you are occupying the presidency of the United States, it's a lot of domestic things that they need done here. You have to be a negotiator. Yes, you have to be. I've not encountered them one on one, but except through proxies. I would look forward to sitting down and really looking at him eyeball to eyeball. Maybe perhaps one day it will be possible, you know. And I will have some questions to ask him why he behaves certain ways. Yes, he is caustic with words. He says it's the way he is. I think he's a better person than the one who pretends. Donald Trump does not pretend. And that's why we loved what he did in Nigeria on December 25th, 2025. And that is why we need some more action from him. The job in Nigeria is far from being done. We need action in Nigeria. Yes, we need a serious action in Nigeria. It's very, very serious. So I don't apologize to any goddamn body for the position that I've taken. Some of my friends are not happy with me, especially some Americans, including some white. I have a white guy. It's on my page. If you will follow me on Facebook, he's there. He's so pissed off with me. Yes, he's my friend for 25 years. He's so angry with me. Why am I doing this? No, I told him, you don't understand the situation going on in Nigeria. If you understood it, you won't blame me. But he's so unwilling to listen to me because I don't know what he has with Donald Trump. But your enemy cannot be my enemy. Yes, we agree on the each situation in Gaza. Yeah, but when it comes to Donald Trump, no, I'm not going to agree with him, especially as it affects Nigeria. I will never agree with him. So it's mad at me. But I hope that After a while, he's going to get okay. Then we'll get back and talk seriously. So that is exactly why there are some who are blacks too, taking cognizance of slavery and all that and the situation of listen, again, I have to explain to them. I cannot take sides with somebody in Nigeria who is thinking like an Arab. He supports it for Palestinians. He condemns what the Israelis are doing to Palestinians. And then he turns back in Nigeria and be doing worse than what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians. No. And then my friend wants me to be quiet because I'm a Pan-Africanist and I will keep quiet or maybe align with them to destroy my people. They are killing the indigenous people of Nigeria. Yeah, so I will not take kindly to that. Those are my people. Yes, if it is politics, I don't play politics with human lives. I have always stood on the part of the truth for anybody. There was a time in 2015 when Buhari was running for presidency of Nigeria. They were lampooning Fulanis. I came out. I was one of the few persons coming out to defend them, to say that they are part of us. They are not as evil as they are being painted. Until I discovered, yes, myself. No, but again, I don't hate anyone. All Fulanis are not bad people. But my problem with the majority of the Fulanis is that they keep quiet. All of them keep quiet when the Fulani elites and their terrorists are destroying our people. They keep quiet when they massacre people. They don't say anything. And then some of them now have the audacity to be condemning Donald Trump. So I will come hard on them. Yes, I come really, really hard on them. You need to shut up. You have no right to talk about what is happening in Iran when you keep quiet about the massacre going on, the genocide going on in Nigeria. You lose your moral platform to stand to make any critical assessment, critical statement against anyone doing so. Yes. So that is where they say, Yokunle, yeah, thank you. He said, well done, President Donald Trump of world humanity. Thank you, and God bless you and protect you, sir. Yes, on that, yes, he deserves the commendation of the people of the world. So yeah, China poses as a more deadly enemy to Nigeria because they're already there in Nigeria and every part of Africa doing terrible things. They don't believe in human rights. They don't believe in respect for environment. They destroy. Yes, yes. Chinese are funding terrorism in the north of Nigeria. They are in Zamfara. I mean, bandits and terrorists there. So their president should shut the fuck up or whoever they represent, they should be quiet and not say a damn thing. They hate Africans. Look at what they do to the Africans in their country. Yes, but they want to come to Nigeria and act like they are king. No, they are not better. Yes, they are not better. I agree that every one of them want to come and exploit Africa. Everybody wants to help Africa even when they are stealing from them. But we know where to draw the line. We know those who at least have fair. Yeah. So all we are asking for as a Pan-African Africanist, what I'm asking for, fair deal for Africa. Africa benefit, you benefit, and everybody is happy. Don't treat us like we are stray dogs anymore. So that is what we are looking for to achieve. But we cannot achieve that through the type of criminal leadership that we have, like the one being provided by Tinubu, a criminal, the deadly criminal. Yes. So, President Donald Trump, on this note, I want to, before I leave and then start talking about Nigeria, I want you, the job in Iran will be half done if the job in Nigeria is not well done. I'm going to tell you, Iran has its fans in Nigeria. Iran has been shipping weapons and bad ammunition to Nigeria. Some years ago, they arrested a shipload of weapons coming from Iran. But typical with Nigeria, that was the end of it. The news reporters will report it in a manner that we will never know anything about, no investigation, nothing. And a lot of that has been happening. Iran has a followership in the north of Nigeria. If protesting, the same people who cannot feed, the same people who have no places to sleep, wake up and they are protesting against the United States and Israel over what is taking place in Iran. But they have more problems than any group of people on earth. They can't solve their problem. They want to take side with Iran. Why? Because they are warped mentally, because they are brainwashed by the terrorists led by Saad Abubakar and his gang of Fulani Danfodo idiots, who have been holding Nigeria down. The case of Nigeria will be very, very simple because the Nigerian people, Nigerian government, fake Nigerian government has no spine. They can't do anything because those that are destroying Nigeria are the ones who brought them, helped them come to power. So they cannot, Tinubu cannot stand up to do anything. Nigerians have been so weakened to rise up. Even in their poverty, they are so divided. So we need an external hand. If you need to expand what you did on the 25th of December 2025. The job in Nigeria will be the easiest to do. You don't even have to invade the country. Pick up Saad, pick up El-Rufai, pick up Malami, pick up all of them. You know them. We know them. You know them. The FBI has it. The CIA has their dossier. We know them. Pick up all the. They are the ones masterminding terrorism in Nigeria. And I tell you, terrorism will die a natural death. They are the ones. Thank God Iran is knocked out. All right? For a very long time, they won't have a source of acquiring ammunition. And we know the other countries involved. France is one of those involved from Europe. France, yes, it's a culprit of what is taking place in that West African sub-region. Saudi Arabia, to some extent, yes, they import their Wahhabi extremist Islamic sect, that kill people, chop people's hand. So one, we have to end Sharia in Nigeria. Sharia is evil. Sharia is a weapon against the poor. Sharia is a weapon against especially the Hausa race that have been held captive for 222 years. If you know the story of the Hausa people, yeah, you will weep for them. So, but they are waking up. They are beginning to see now. They are seeing that they have been duped all these years. So they are fighting. And the people of Nigeria are waking up. And we're going to join them to set themselves free. And if the Hausa people are free, the if the Hausa people are free, the entire Nigeria will be free. So the issue of the case of Nigeria will be the easiest. Nigeria has lost its military. They are incapable of fighting anything. But once the masterminds of terrorism in Nigeria are picked up, all right, no matter how many there are, but you know them, President Trump, you know them, the CIA knows them, and we know them. All right, we will collaborate with you, pick them up, take them to Guantanamo Bay, let them be there for the rest of their lives, and everything will be all right. Everything will surely be all right. Now, we're going to go to talk about Iran's offer for help to Nigeria. Yes, Iran's offer for help to Nigeria. Okay, so that's going to be coming in a few seconds there. So you watch it, how Iran intends to help Nigeria.
Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Well, we set out bringing you an update on the war in Iran with US President Donald Trump vowing to sustain what he calls Operation Epic Fury until Iran's military capabilities are completely decimated. He has also said that he would leave his impression on whoever emerges on as the next supreme leader of Iran. For a conversation around all that, we are
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to your audiences, listeners and viewers.
Good morning, sir.
I'm happy in order to be in your program.
Okay.
Morning, show.
Good morning.
It's nice to have you.
Good morning.
Now, let's go straight into this. Recently, the Israeli ambassador was here at Arise News, and he said that Iran was sponsoring terrorists in Nigeria. I know you've since responded saying that Nigeria and Iran have a good relationship. However, it seems that some people believe this to be true, that Iran is sponsoring Islamic jihadist terrorism in Nigeria. What is your response to that?
First of all, regarding the allegations of Iranian support for terrorism in Nigeria, I have to mention claims that Iran support terrorism are completely baseless and politically motivated, aiming undermine the long-standing friendly relation between Iran and Nigeria, which span more than 6 decades, and are currently at their highest level based on the mutual respect, cooperation, shared interest, and diplomatic principles. So, the Islamic Republic of Iran respects Nigerian sovereignty, security, and stability, and highly values its relation with the Nigerian governments and people. Iran has never pursued policies to destabilize Nigeria. So you can ask this question from Nigerian governments, officials.
Rogue
So
government.
we are in a good
Crazy
condition
government.
in bilateral relation area, regional and international point of view. In fact, this is a ridiculous and baseless allegation, and I think somebody should ask, that ambassador, why you raise these baseless allegation in order to ruin, the good relation
We
and
have never
positive
had good
relation between
relationship with you.
Tehran and
We
Abuja.
have good relationship with the
All
criminals.
right, thank you very much, Ambassador Raja. I'd like to follow up on.
Sorry. Let me finish my
right,
sentence. Sorry.
Please go on,
If you allow me.
Yeah,
So
please.
it is important to emphasize that Iran itself, has been one of the greatest victims of the terrorism over the past decades. Even in recent developments, Iran has faced direct terrorism, actions. Just last week, the supreme leader and thousands of senior officials. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ambassador.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Officials. So, military commanders were targeted in a terrorist operation. Given these facts, it is highly unreasonable to accuse Iran of supporting terrorism. The reality is that Israel regime itself engaged in state-sponsored terrorism with a long record of terrorist operation, targeted assassination, and covert action against officials and scientists in other countries, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Palestine. Such accusations are primarily intended to distract public attention from these facts. Iran always emphasized combating terrorism, respecting state sovereignty, and strengthening regional and international cooperation to counter terrorism. You see, during instability in Iraq 10 years ago, we were the country who combat the terrorism in Iraq in order to help Iraqi government against Daesh in northern part. They captured northern part of Iraq, and we helped the government of the Iraq to combat the terrorism in order to get free those northern part of Iraq from the Daesh. This is our record. Yes.
All right, Ambassador Raja, thank you for the clarification. But I'd like to stay on that issue very quickly before we move into other matters. You said that what the Israeli ambassador said is politically motivated. I'll be interested in knowing the context in which you use that. And then could it be that you have had some support for certain organizations, Islamic organizations in Nigeria? For example, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, which is also a Shia body, could it be that the sort of support that you have been giving to such an organization is being misconstrued to think that it's fueling terrorism? And then could it also be, Mr. Ambassador, that the fact that Iran as a country has not openly condemned the terror attacks in many parts of Nigeria, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria, can be read as being silent against terrorism and the issues that Nigeria is dealing with? You know, that misconception, are you able to clarify it, you know, so that we can pull a stop to it?
We two different sections. First of all, we just as a just baseless allegation which that person raised. Iran, has so many, Iran, in fact, has some followers. According to the followers of the spiritual leader, those person Muslims, not only the Shia, not only the Sunni, they are followers, spiritually, culturally, not politically. And you can see in Africa, after assassination of our supreme leader, they have some peaceful rallies and occasions. I mean, funeral, mourning occasions. So it doesn't mean that Iran defending, those groups. No. It's a moral and a spiritual, connection, because they are Muslims. We are Muslims. And for the second part of your question, is we always condemn terrorism in any kind and forms. We always condemn, and always we express our readiness in order to cooperate with the governments or the countries who are facing with the terrorism. We express it that we are ready in order to give you the hands, and we express it also as the Iranian officials, and I mean me as an ambassador here to the Nigerian officials, that we are ready to give you the hands in order to combat the terrorism, because I know that Nigeria is facing with the terrorism, Boko Haram, ISWAP, and etc. And we are ready in order to give the government hand, in order to give them our experience in order regarding the combating terrorism, because we had such a big experience in the region. We are a victim of the terrorism, so we condemn any kind of terrorism, sir. We condemn any kind of terrorism, including in Nigeria. We did it. Our foreign ministry had so many, let's say, position against terrorism, against criminal operation by the terrorist groups in Nigeria, not in Nigeria, but also in African continents, not African, any countries. We are the victim, and we are just ready to cooperate with the African countries to combat terrorism, because we had lots of experience. So we condemn the operation of the terrorist attacks and those crimes which they had done here in Nigeria and in Africa in several times. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ambassador. I want us to move a little bit back to the conflict and the war that we're currently in on believe we're on day eight of this ongoing conflict. And part of why this conversation has been happening is what the motivations for this war are. Now, Israel and America have maintained that it was a preemptive strike on Iran, and Iran has maintained that Israel and the US were aggressors. But also going to the crux here, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has often framed this war in religious terms. However, US President Donald Trump insists that his focus is on regime change and that the US will have a role in choosing Iran's next leader. From your government's perspective, what do you believe the real motivations are for the US-Israeli attack on Iran last week? And do you believe that Donald Trump will have a hand in choosing your next supreme leader?
Okay, so the military aggression by the United States and Israel regime against my country, Islamic Republic of Iran, is a clear violation of international law. And the United Nations Charter, without any doubt, while some try to frame this conflict in a religious terms or speak of regime change, the underlying, let's say, motives are far more than concrete. For the United States, the objective is control over Iran's energy resources and interfering in our internal efforts regarding these resources. Let me add these facts that recently, I think yesterday, the executive of the White House Energy Council officially stated that the U.S. aims to take full control of Iran oil reserves. They officially announced it. So, and for Israel, the aim of fragmentation of Iran and disintegration of and the attack is to advance its border regional strategy, stretching from Nile to the Euphrates, and then to implement initiatives such as Abraham Accords. This is the context. Destabilizing Iran, including through war, serves their strategic goals. The Iranian people alone have the right regarding to to elect or select a leader for Iran by the United States. The Iranian people alone have the right to decide their political system and the future, and no external power has the authority to interfere. The true aim of these actions is to weaken Iran independence and constructive regional growth, a policy that neither guarantee peace and security nor promotes stability, but rather increase instability in the region and entire world, without any doubt. They are looking, ma'am, they are looking for Iran energy reserves, and they are looking for destabilizing Iran, for disintegrating Iran. They announced it, and recently,
what did they get? What would they gain from destabilizing Iran?
Let me finish this sentence. Okay. President Trump recently announced, last night, that maybe United States will think about disintegration of Iran. Yes.
All right, Mr. Ambassador. What my colleague was just going to ask you, what do you think that the United States and Israel will gain from a disintegrated Iran? You've mentioned two reasons why you think that they are prosecuting this war. Disintegrating Iran and, of course, taking over your oil. What do you think they stand to gain? One. And then how do you hope to prosecute this war in defending yourself? We're being told on a daily basis how badly hit Iran is getting hit. How bad is it for your people? How bad is it for your infrastructure? And therefore, people are asking, are you expanding the theater of war to deliberately pull the war into conflict and force an end to the war? Which is why people are saying, why are you hitting all the other Gulf states? Even though the president did call yesterday to apologize, but then with a caveat that Iran will still reserve the right to hit any Middle Eastern countries if it allows itself to be used by America. So for how long can you prosecute? What does it mean? At the end of the day, if you are dealing with everybody, United States, Israel, and all your neighbors who are also might be thinking of retaliating.
So we have a right to retaliate, and we are retaliating, in fact, and we convey the message to our neighbors, which we have had a friendly relation with those neighbors because they are neighbors, and we had a friendly relation with them, and we convey the message to them that we respect the sovereignty of their countries in the region. So the point is, the United States, are misusing of those, bases in the region, because some of those countries in the region, they allow United States to have a base, military bases and capabilities in the region, and now we are receiving the huge, attack and strikes by those bases. So we have these legitimate rights in order to attack the American interest in the region. Regardless, it would be in that country or this country. So that country should be, tell the United States not to use those bases, military bases against Iran. This is not my responsibility, because we announced it before. This is not Iran's responsibility. We announced it before that the war, if they will occur the next, another war, we will just attack to the United States interest in the region, because it's our right. Because, sir, and nowadays, and already the United States military, capabilities are supporting from those bases, and we have these clear and legitimate rights in order to defend ourselves, in order to attack to those bases who are facilitate the American operations against Iran. And so far, we received a huge number of the missiles by the United States. A huge number of the missiles, 6,000 missiles. And so far, we received 2,500 strikes. So this is my legitimate right. My government legitimate right to attack. And President Pezeshkian said, until those bases will not be used against my country, so we do not attack to those countries who offer these bases. But if they will allow the United States to use those bases, we will defend ourselves. That is the authority.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, there were still attacks yesterday in the UAE. Airports have been targeted. Many civilian areas have been targeted. Are you saying that the rules of engagement are not respected by Iran?
Sir, in this conflict, in this complicated conflict, sometimes we mentioned the story of the false flag operation. In the Turkey and Azerbaijan, Nakhchivan, we announced it officially that we were not engaged. It was not by the Iranian, that attack to the airport to Nakhchivan. We announced it officially, and sometimes we are seeing
and I don't understand why Nigeria is being drawn in. My question is the offer of help by Iran to Nigeria. How are they going to give this help? A country that has been decimated. They don't have anything left. Everything that they have has been wiped out. So where is the source of this help going to come from? Maybe perhaps outside of what they have already done before. It is clear it's not anything to hide. She's going to come here and deny everything that Iran represents to the Middle East and parts of Africa, especially in Nigeria, where they have a huge Shiite movement and that has been so troublesome, led by Ezra Zaki. Now, what is taking place this time now is that there's a unification of the so-called Shiite and the so-called then Sunni, because is an Islamic country. These guys are hypocrites. Their leadership are hypocrites, and the people that follow them are just innocent and ignorant Nigerians, hungry Nigerians that they brainwash to make them believe that everything is about Islam. An attack of an Islamic country is an attack on all Muslims and Islam as a religion. And that's the same rhetoric, the same retarded rhetoric that they have been pushing for a very long time. And it's an expired rhetoric. Yes, simple, clear. Iran has a hand in what is taking place in Nigeria. Hugely involved with what is taking place. Intelligence reports points in that direction. He can come here and deny it all he wants. It's the same thing that drives them. This warped ideology. Yes, it is a crazy thing that, but good thing is they have been decimated at home. They cannot offer any help. I'm hoping that the United States, in the absence of Nigerians' inability to do what they must do to set their country free, can come up and mop up and send all the masterminds to Guantanamo Bay where they should belong here. I'm talking about Saad Abubakar and his cronies, criminals who have been destroying Nigeria. Yes, the ones who are saying that they want to force Nigeria to accept Sharia. All right, let us see how they are going to do it. So all of us will become what they are, and that we have been silent. Yes, our silence has been really criminal. That is what gave a minority in Nigeria the audacity to claim ownership of Nigeria and think that they can direct the destiny of Nigeria the way they are. If you're a Nigerian listening to me right now, from east, west, north, and south, this is a moment for you to really stand up and be ready to defend yourself, defend your families, defend your state, defend your local government, defend your hometown, and defend your country. They don't own Nigeria. We own Nigeria. They have our black skin, but their minds are not for Africa. A real African person who understands the history of Africa should not be taking sides with either the Europeans or the Arabs. Because these two groups dealt us some terrible blows. Yes, they did so much terrible things to us. The Arabs enslaved us for 700 years. 700 years. They enslaved the black man. The Arabs that gave our people Islam. Yes, 700 years of slavery that they did to us. For the 700 years, they castrated all the male slaves, black people. They castrated them, and for the women, they turned them into sex slaves. Yes, so they come anytime they feel like peeing, they come and have sex with the women. Yeah, the Arabs generally are very wicked, and they are still doing the same thing in Saudi Arabia. When our people go to pilgrimage, you see the discrimination. Just 2 years ago, I saw a video going viral where the people went on pilgrimage to Mecca. In Mecca, they were sharing food. This Arab woman would not give Africans food. She gave to her Arab brothers and sisters. And then when our people stretched out their place to be given food, no, she would push the place away and search for her Arab brothers and sisters to give them. These are the same people that tell you they are one and same in Allah. Man, this is why I cannot be a Christian or a Muslim. I know the history. If I look at the history of these two, what they did to us, I don't want to have anything to do with them. But it's what it is. But we must not allow these extremists with a terrible Arab mindset to come and take over our country and tell us that whatever they tell us is what we are going to do. Now it's time. Yeah, Nigerians, now it's time. Warn yourself. Really, seriously. Warn yourself. You, especially you who go into political parties with them. Don't vote for them anymore. Don't vote for them. Hausa people, I'm happy that you are beginning to wake up. You need to wake up faster and join the rest of indigenous African people in Nigeria to reshape the destiny of Nigeria. Yes, a minority has no right to come and hold us captive in our own African continent. No, this we own the place, and they should not be the one directing us. Before I leave, I will show you what they represent, what drives their warped ideology, and the reason why we must wake up as African people to take charge. We are not telling you not to be a Muslim, but don't come and begin to act like if a Pakistani Muslim is dying, it becomes your problem in Nigeria. What's the reason for all this stupid protest in Nigeria? Honestly, especially in the north of Nigeria. What the hell is that? You are poor already. You are disenfranchised. You are sick and diseased. You have no education. And some idiots who cannot wash their teeth will tell you that an attack in Iran is an attack against Islam. And then you foolishly believe and then come out, be killing. You even start vandalizing people's property and killing fellow Nigerians inside Nigeria. You should be ashamed of yourself. Though you need to receive sense now. Or you will be ready to move. Go back to the Arab world. Live in Saudi Arabia, they're your country.
Notice, Premier, when I've been here,
This
is
was
that
what
Northerners seem
Ahmadu
to have, I might almost call it obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with Northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, for as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys we are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of the country?
Well, it might, but you are, I mean, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there may be 10 laborers employed only in the two regions.
That was Ahmadu Bello, the author of Hate in Nigeria. Yes. Nigeria to go to school. The Hausas were repressed them from joining people. Yeah, so Nigerians, if you like, if you like, if you like, don't listen. Because your failure to listen all these years is responsible for the logjam we are in. When a stupid little minority of people lord it out on us, they seize our armed forces, they seize all of our strategic national institutions. They are the only ones, they just seize the country. And now they are shooting up our country. And everybody is folding their arm and waiting for an army or military that will not come. Nigeria has no military. They control the military. The command and control infrastructure of your then Nigerian army is in their hands. That is why the army cannot win any battle. That is why Boko Haram, defeating Boko Haram has been as elusive as illusion. All right? So, self-defense. Gather, be prepared for self-defense because they are not going to give up without a fight. They are not going to give up without a fight. They are partners with Iran. They are partners with all rogue Arab countries. They are partners with France. Yes, that are destabilizing the entire West African sub-region. So America is our friend, big time. So you condemn an America blindly, you are a fool. Yes, you are a big fool. Those who condemn America based on nonsense that they hear. You talk about sovereignty. Do we have the sovereignty? We have never had sovereignty. You talk about territorial integrity. How did you have territorial integrity when the whole of the north is open? People from afar of Mauritania and everywhere come into the country. Yes, and then terrorized our country. They have been destabilizing one country after the other. They are responsible for the fire that is raging in Sudan. All right, Sudan is very close to Nigeria. Nigeria is their next port of call, and actually the most strategic country in Africa that they want. Their mission is not a short-term mission. Their mission is to first of all seize the West African sub-region before they take on the African continent. Yes, with the power of Nigeria. So if you are still sleeping, you can go ahead and keep on sleeping until it gets to you. Then you will understand what we have been telling you all these years. Wake up. If it is in politics, don't vote for them whenever they come anywhere near the ballot. Do not vote for them because they are not good. They have demonstrated that they are not good. 10 out of our country's starting heads of states have something either to do directly or remotely with them. What did they do? They all took turns to ruin the country. Are we not tired of being destroyed? Why come we can't have an indigenous Nigerian president who will love our country like he loves himself? That's what a president who will not call one part of his country a dot in a circle with no exit. They said it. The same thing Ahmadu Bello did was what Buhari did in 2022 when he destroyed an entire region with his mouth and set terrorists in Igbo land that are destroying them. Nobody talks about that. The corrupt and morally bankrupt Nigerian mainstream media is blacked out. They don't say anything about it. The corrupt politicians from other parts of Nigeria, including what they call that dirty South, they don't say anything. All corrupt criminals. Now, again, Nigerians, it is up to you that when there's an election, you choose the best who can speak for you and not the goat who can give you money. And then you allow him go. He goes to the National Assembly. Stupid Fulani thugs will be giving him money and then shutting him up. Yes, go with intellectual thugs, physical and intellectual thugs. Go to that National Assembly. Let us boogie together. So that is what it is right now. I hope you will learn some lessons after all this. Maybe if Nigeria ever escapes being completely destroyed, the way things are going, we'll give thanks and praises. It's a pleasure, having all of you who joined us in this broadcast. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring you further updates on what is taking place in Iran. Not because I am interested in it, just because we have to tell the people the truth, especially the gullible Nigerians, why they should focus on solving Nigerian problem and not crying a foul about what is taking place in Iran. You can't do anything. Why not? If you are so interested in fighting for Iran, get in there. I'm sure they are giving visa free to everybody now. Go in there and fight for them. All right? And don't be ranting in Nigeria. Bye for now. Much love, much love, much love. Bye.